Hello, I'm Steve. A little about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 20 years of service. I began my career in the jail, worked the road, and became an investigator. During my career, my training consisted of everything from SWAT to becoming a state certified crime scene technician. I've investigated crimes from thefts to homicides. After retiring and becoming aware of true crime and web sleuths, I started my channel for web sleuths to better understand the perspectives of law enforcement. Not only do we cover true crime, I go out into the field and assist families who have lost loved ones to homicide and their cases are considered cold. Join me as we look and bring attention to these critical cases.
Hello, everyone. Glad you're able to join us tonight. If you're new to the channel, thank you for being here. What we'll have is a presentation, and I'm going flying solo tonight due to Mrs. Steve has been visiting the grandchildren, and so she should be somewhere around the house here shortly. But I'm not at my normal desk. We're down here in Florida right now, and so anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. And while you're here and you're in chat, be respectful of families, mods, and each other. We are going to be talking about the Delphi case tonight. And it's come to everybody's attention that Judge Gull has had a medical issue that's been ongoing for several weeks now. And with that in mind, I want everyone to always be respectful of her and her health conditions and stuff, of course, because we wish the best for everybody. We can always disagree with opinions and things, but we can never wish ill will upon anyone for any reason, regardless if we agree or disagree with their opinions. And because we all have an opinion, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, and I know for a fact there's a lot of people that don't always agree with my opinions. I get sent the emails and the comments, and I enjoy those for the fact it makes me slow down, look at both sides, and some of the information, especially what we're going to be talking about tonight with Judge Gull and the decision and the release of the transcripts from the chamber meeting, which kind of surprised me. And we're going to be discussing that in great detail there's 20 something pages from that transcript, but of course with a 30-minute typically somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes of a presentation, I just pick out a few of the key items that I want to address, and we'll go from there. But anyway, before we get started, I'll check in here as I normally do when we have Mrs. Steve not here getting everything organized. I go through and try to speak to as many people as I can. Bama, good to see you. Dandy, good to see you. 63 clocks, excellent. I was talking in chat with them earlier before the show, guys. Good to hear and see everybody. Ian, good to see you. Man, over all the way from the UK. Thank you for being here. It means a lot. There's Di, good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Going magnet fishing. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I'm glad the snow stopped you from going magnet fishing. My goodness. All right. And yes, I do have the blue light now. So you're going to have to. It's not much of a blue light, but it's the best that we got right now. It was packed up and missing. And for the people that's new to the channel, blue light is whenever we have support, new members, things of that we throw it up there, and I appreciate it. I have one at home that's part of the studio, but I don't have one for the road. Let's see here. Nanar, good to see you. Louise, good to see you. Let's see here. Who else we got in the house? Night owls. Yes, night owls rock. I was working many years as a night owl. That morning watch. Unearthed Secrets is here. Good to see you. Fester. Sheriff Cope's mustache is a tragedy. Goodness gracious. What a name. All righty. There's Kelt. Good to see you. Okay. All right. Support with Steffa. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support. All right. So let's get into some of the presentation here now, guys. Of course, if you have any information regarding this case, absolutely make sure that prosecution, the defense, law enforcement, whoever has that information for as we seek justice for Olivia and Abby, we absolutely have to have all that information presented, and they have to have full knowledge of it. And for the fact that, justice can only be served one way, and we have to have when we're looking at Richard Allen, he's, absolutely innocent until proven guilty by a jury of his peers, and that's what we're going to be looking at. And some of the court issues has some of his Sixth Amendment been eroded due to some of the antics, not only that has occurred, not only with the defense, but there's been issues about the prosecution and law enforcement and things, and so we have to look at that. And I've always said, and I do believe that regardless of what happens in the coming days and what has happened in the past, that justice will be, our system is built that regardless of all these things that occur, that it will be handled, it will be right, the ship will be righted, and we'll have a justice will be found, and through our courts. That's all that we can wish and believe upon is our Constitution, and it has systems in place to correct any wrongs, and we'll just have to see where it goes from here. All right. Yeah. All righty. But let's see here. Okay, of course, Allen, Superior Court Judge Fran Gull, has been on the bench for 10 years when I first created this slide in a previous show. And so she's a well-established judge, been on the bench for quite a while, there's been, like all judges, they are going to be in the spotlight, and there's positives and negatives about all of them. And of course, with her health issues right now, like I said, if anyone in chat wishes to violate any of the rules, then you can just go somewhere else, because the mods will kick you out. And if I see you, I'll kick you out. We're not going to deal with anyone that has any ill will towards her for her medical. If you have a issue or opinion about her judicials, absolutely. We don't have a problem discussing the aspects of rulings and things. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let me see. All right. Some of the things, and this is one of all those pages that I read, this is one of the key things that I took away from it. And while she has addressed Baldwin and Rosie, and I have changed my opinion a little bit about Judge Gull, as far as when we first saw her on the bench that morning of, and the attorneys had came out later and said they were ambushed. I was up there right among all, as far as being biased and very outspoken, that some of the things that I didn't believe, I thought that they were rambling along. But there is some foundation to some of the accusations about being ambushed that appears to be that maybe Judge Gull wasn't as forthright and coming out and making it clear that there was an ultimatum. And now this is my perspective of it, my opinion of it. Everybody out there may have different perspectives, and they may agree and of what her decisions and how it came about. And that's one of the key issues I'm here to discuss. Is I've seen judges, and you'll see them across the full spectrum of really great judges, and some judges that have moments of rage, and they'll jump to certain conclusions sometimes. And I hadn't seen that with Judge Gull with my limited knowledge of her. But reading the transcripts and seeing some of the things and seeing the attorneys, and which I was extremely biased towards Baldwin and Rossi as far as from the revelations that were made in the Frank's motion, 136 page. Now I have a little bit of understanding of what was going on there and who was probably the main part of that. And I have new respect for Rossi, and I absolutely do. I don't think Rossi deserves to be as criticized as much, because from some of the verbiage used not only by others but by him, it appears that he was more blindsided than the other, because there were things that appears to be going on in the background, and he realized that the day of that there were certain other issues. And so we're going to be talking about that. But I'll read this to you here, where the court, Judge Gull, said that the state provided you discovery, talking to Rossi and Baldwin, specifically Baldwin, that has been severely compromised. We now have an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to call it a criminal investigation. Don't know what it is, but it's clearly being investigated by the state of Indiana. Now, she's a judge. I've never met a judge yet in a courtroom behind a bench that didn't know exactly what was going on and didn't know exactly what to tell them, and knowing the rules of civil law, criminal law. The judges know the law, and they know what is being investigated. They know what's behind investigations, what the agenda is, where are we moving toward, what are we pursuing. And so I think that she has a better understanding than what she's putting here. But she says that she's not going to call it a criminal investigation and that she don't know what it is. I think she pretty well has a pretty good idea of what it is, especially when you see something that Baldwin says later on, and that everyone has sought counsel, including you, Mr. Baldwin, which is his right, especially, as I say, that, as you'll see here in a moment when we get to that statement of what Baldwin makes. You've had an attorney enter written appearance this morning, and I absolutely agree that when an attorney decides that he needs an attorney, he's a very wise man, because, like I said, only fools represent themselves. And but we'll get into this. Of course, this is all based on Richard Allen, but that as far as the representation, but what's going on in the courtroom has nothing to do with Richard Allen. It's that the harm to him is from what has happened to his attorneys. And it's a very critical point that will have to be answered. But during this moments in chamber, when they just were discussing this, it was all about the attorneys. It wasn't about Richard Allen. But Richard Allen is ultimately has to face whatever will come of this through his representation and what has happened with the attorneys. And this was a email timeline of when all the communications came on. And of course, we have Baldwin and Rossi. In one of the statements from this, Baldwin says, "I don't know why Nick would want to talk about ongoing investigation in public, knowing that in itself could be a little damaging to the circumstances. So we're lawyers and attorneys," and he's absolutely making a good point here, that attorneys work in everything that is structured, framed out, hearings. There's very little surprises, very few Perry Mason moments, and that certain things that they understand. But the key point that Baldwin makes in this whole statement and is when he's telling the judge that you're maybe gathered that we've cooperated. We ran into the state police post, our respective posts, if you will, and had somebody advise me of my rights now and waived those and gave a formal statement. And this is huge. anytime, and I've had my rights read to me, it happens, law enforcement, but defense attorneys, when they get their rights read to them, and he continues on, and but talking about that, what is his fears at this moment? He has to go get representation for the fact that when you get your rights read to you, and it's by law enforcement, there's an agenda and there's a focus to that, because law enforcement doesn't. We don't go out there and work civil cases. We work criminal cases, and the Indiana State Police was conducting the investigation, and so and he has a lot to be concerned about. Now, I don't know if Rozzi had his rights read to him, but Baldwin did, and that's a huge point, guys. And I'm sure at that moment, who wouldn't want to go get representation? All right, let's get caught back up in chat right quick. All right. See if there's any. Now, I'm not an attorney or anything, but of course, I'm not an attorney. I'm just a crime scene guy, law enforcement, and retired now. But it's, I don't know, once I became aware of some of this, it's changed my views quite a bit of some of the issues about this. All right. Yeah, trying again. Josh Posh, good to see you. Dragonfly, good to see you. Molly, outside the grid, good to see you. Tortisha, good to see you. Peter Johnson. Now, if I missed, there's Dave. Good to see you. Oh. All right. There's Peggy. There's who else is in the house? Demead, good to see you. All right. Try and get caught back up just a little bit. Running behind. Okay. Triple S says, I feel like she extended a courtesy to them because she respects them and desires to protect their reputation. But those shady lawyers took her favor and used it against her. My opinion of this is that the ultimatum of where I see that went adrift, and like I said, I don't fully understand why she made a certain decision. She told them, as we'll cover here in a few minutes, that this is in no uncertain terms and no certain order of how she thought the hearing would go and things that she would say. It would have been far better that if she had had that hearing, absolutely. And it would have been far better if she had told the attorneys that, hey, while I present and prepare you, and we're going to have another hearing in a couple of weeks of where you may be withdrawn from this case, and we're going to try to keep everything private, but we're going to get some attorneys working with y'all in case, but having the due process. And Rozzi brings up that due process. And Rozzi, like I said, I have new respect for Rozzi, or Rosie, or how you pronounce his name. I have new respect for him. And so, and I think that he realized that it was far more, that Baldwin was in far more danger than anyone realized other than him and the investigators, and he was blindsided. And so from Rozzi's viewpoint, ambush is probably the best term you could ever come up with. Let's see here. And Baldwin didn't put much of a fight. I know, and I think that he has reasons to be possibly fearful, speculation, because he says that this is the first time in his career that any type of misconduct has, that it's got to this point. which means that at some point in his career, he's probably faced other allegations, but it's nobody's ever been able to prove it. And, it's sort of like you ask a man, have you ever buried anybody? Not anybody's ever been able to prove. And so it's just one of those things. Yes, Dave. Judge Gull has a medical condition, and we wish her the best and a speedy recovery. Dragonfly, good to see you. Tanya, good to see you. Marla, you're not late, you're here. Debbie W says, I was watching a lawyer read through this earlier, and he felt that the judge was out of line. And like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but now that I see the transcripts, I don't feel that bad for Baldwin, but I do feel bad for Rosie. I really do. So we'll get into that a little bit and cover that for a few times. Let's see. And part of the issue is of course, Rosie's manner of protecting the court and the documents and the files that led to this, to the leaks. This is a straw that broke the camera's back. And Baldwin says, of course, we put locks on our doors now. And on the war room where this guy went, my friend went in and did this without my knowledge. Is that the case? I don't know. But there's a lot of things that went on without his knowledge. I've never went into any place where there's attorneys and seen documents laying unlocked in a conference room. And especially someone that may have had some being used as a consultant. And so we have to look at that and say, does that really make sense? If it doesn't make sense, there's a reason for it. Let's see. And I agree with you, Debbie. I, at this point, like I said, I'm beginning to believe with you that I think Rosie is absolutely someone that we should look at and respect. Although he did kind of almost throw Baldwin under the bus, and I have that statement in here also that we'll be looking at here in just a minute. And right here is where Rosie became the mama bear, the protector of his partner, and realizing that although one part of the statement, he says, I can't read, the tea leaves, but Rosie's pretty sharp. And his instinct, and this is what impressed me about this man, is that, this is starting to scream due process to me. Haven't seen any of these exhibits and don't know anything about any of this. And I'm not distancing myself from Mr. Baldwin. I'm just saying, have no connection with any of these people. So he's saying that I don't know what went on with Baldwin's office and all this other stuff and his contacts and how a lot of this occurred. But I absolutely want the court to realize that I'm seeing some due process issues for the attorneys themselves. And you have to respect that. And I absolutely do. And so I think he is like I said, he impressed me. And when you impress me, I recognize you. Oh, yeah. Triple S says, I can tell from the courthouse press conference being assigned the case, these guys are showboaters and manipulate the jury pool as part of the defense. Yes, that's what defense attorneys do. They're good at it. They're great at it. And that's exactly what they do. And these attorneys are no less. They got a high profile case. All right, trying to get down through here. And if I miss anybody, I hate that, but I'm working by myself. Mrs. Steve normally is to my left, but Molly, about the email issues. And I covered this, Coach West. This is a good point. What about the conversations that attorneys had with the judge, the prosecution prior to that day, through emails and phone calls? Good points. They, and as I've stated in that video, that they were forewarned that it was very serious. Because anytime the judge tells you that you're the representing a client who is facing severe, if he's found guilty, some of the most severe possibility of any sentence that you can face, and a judge tells you to quit working on the case, that I think they should have been forewarned and known of what could possibly come of those warnings. And I think Baldwin did. Rosley maybe not as much for whatever reason. And, but that's a good point. There was a lot of it. Yeah. Triple Alt Steve is doing great. Mrs. Steve was over there with him just a few moments ago. Here we go. Look now, guys. Y'all get to see the blue light. Let me get it in. It's a blue light and red light. So, Josh the Posh, I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. If I've got to get used to being able to activate that thing. That's my traveling blue light. I have in my studio at home, I have a different blue light. Steve, do you think Judge Gull's admission saying true to, I think, Ross's comment that the judge's action had a sense of informality that will be significant in the eyes of the Supreme Court? I think there's going to be a lot of things that's significant now that we have these transcripts of the Supreme Court and the due process. Because if she had carried on and what she had said, that I'm having this hearing to answer some of these motions, if she had conducted it that way and then told the attorneys, okay, I see your due process point, so let's do it this way. We're going to go out there, we're going to do these motions that you're having, and I'm going to make whatever my findings are. And like I said, this is just my opinion, and I'm not a judge by any shape, form, fashion, or attorney. But to address your due process issues, these are the charges that you're facing, and this is the court's opinion that if we don't answer this, you can be removed from this case. So we're going to get you the everything so that you'll be able to prepare your arguments, and you have 14 days, 7 days, I don't know. But this trial, take whatever time it is, for the fact that if we can keep these attorneys and keep this Supreme Court out of it, it's a far better issue than where we're at now. And yes, Triple S, that they put an accusation against the guards. They threatened Richard Allen. And you have to look at that. What is a threat? How many times have I told someone, drop that weapon or I'm about to shoot you? Is it a threat? Yes, it's a threat, but it's the truth also. And also with tasing or spraying, we didn't have tasers and things that, like with Richard Allen, that he's been tased a couple of times, but that, hey, do what we say or we're going to tase you. Of course, that's a threat, but it's also what's in your future if you don't behave yourself. And so do I think that certain verbiage was used, and it's how you evaluate what is a threat and what's about to happen to you, because it happens. Thank you, Rob Lee. Yes, I think he was being used as a former consultant. On your toe, yes, I think Rosie's up and up. Yes, Rosie, like I said, he was talking like an attorney. Tom's here. $10, thank you. Let me get this thing going. If I can figure out how to put it in my camera. Hello, Stephen, True Crime Webster. I hope everyone's having a great Thanksgiving week. We're also thankful for what you and Mrs. Steve do for the true crime community. Thank y'all. Thank you, Tom. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with you and your family. And we have to remember all these other families, these co-case families and victims' families that they're going to be going through these times and these holidays when they've lost someone. We have to remember them and keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. And appreciate your support there, Tom. Gail Hurd, $5 super sticker. I'm getting this blue light going. Let's see. There we go. I'm going to have to figure this thing out. Thank you for your support, Gail. Wouldn't they have to have been given depositions, evidence from the 9 LE that were going to testify? And that's part of it. And that's where Rosie was stepping up to bring out this due process that, hey, if you're coming after us, we need to know and be forewarned, just like you're accusing us of something. And Rosie took up for Baldwin, and I understand that. And that's where the defense attorneys make more sense in their argument at this point than what the judge did. And like I said, it's just my opinion of it. And Rob Lee, this is probably, I think Judge Gull's informality was trying to protect their image, but it was a mistake on her part. She should have notified them of a hearing for possible sanction disqualification. Well said, well put, 100% with what Rob says. Bill Moser, good to see you. Emerson, thank you, awesome mods and great TCW chat friends. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, let's get back over here for a minute and go down through here. Now this is one moment of Rosie, low point of it for me, is that I have 10 pages of deposition transcripts in this file from my depositions, our depositions. They took from one of the Trooper Holman in this case, and he talks openly about there were crime scene leaks from the very beginning. And just because they have happened in the past, really, I can see where they're trying to level the issues and trying to get their 2 cents in there. But there's a gag order now. When that occurred, and that's the reason we have the gag orders, and trying to keep it where we can have a justice, and we don't have all these people having information that's going to be coming in and giving false confessions and stuff, which absolutely can create havoc within the courts for the fact that the defense will do what defense does. That everybody that confesses, hey, this is a person that says they were involved and they have key information. And so just because someone else does it doesn't mean that you have the right to do so. And so I really, on this point, I really don't go with him on that. And and I wish that the court had done what this slide says. Here are my thoughts in no particular order. Don't know how many folks are out there, and certainly don't wish to air publicly to the world the concerns I have about this matter. And the court should be concerned about these leaks and everything that happens and what the attorneys did. Don't have an issue with that. But my intent is having this hearing was to go through some of the pleadings that we have not yet decided, and she absolutely should have. Shouldn't have went out there and, in my opinion, and done what she did. She disappointed me in that, but I think she'll get by without my support. I mean, she's a judge, but I wish she had handled it differently. You're going to change your name, Lone Pony. Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, man, we're all learning so much about the legal system. So much, I'm thinking of changing my name to Lone Pony. I'm not even going to butcher Latin. That's great. Oh, man. All right. Anyway, so let's go back and get into our chat and see what's going on. If you have any other questions, absolutely make your comments. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. And did I give Lone? I can't even remember with this thing. Did I give Lone Pony? Thank you. Appreciate it. This is where Mr. Baldwin was addressing that's some of the documents, the 136 page, I guess in particular, was released due to that he didn't mark it confidential, and he knows now that that's what we have to do now. He's an attorney, and I don't go along with that. When you know that certain things can occur, and if you try to manipulate the court system, and you see a loophole, just because you have the right to do something doesn't always mean it's the right thing to do. And I think that's something that Baldwin does more than most attorneys, that he sees that he has a right to do something, but it's not really always the right thing to do. And I hate that. Amazon, $7. Happy 7-month anniversary to me. Yes, happy 7-month anniversary. Thank you. Let's see. There it goes. I'll get this figured out, guys. I swear I will. If I can figure out how to level it. Thank you for your support. Appreciate that. Another secret is I got to know. That's a wonderful name. Member for 5 months. Blessing to Mr. and Mrs. Steve. Happy Turkey. Thank you. You too. We want everybody to have a great holiday this week. I'm looking forward to it. I love Thanksgiving. I love that turkey coma that I will about 1:30 have to endure. Black Witter, good to see you. Mead, great question. How much of a setback is this going to be to the trial? 1 year from from what I see now. The Supreme Court of Indiana may come in and correct some issues, and it may not be that bad. They may get Rosie and back on the case. I don't know. They may readdress it and bring them both back on. They may have a dream team of attorneys where everybody's on it. I have no idea, but it could be up to a year. And sadly. put it on a hat. Well, I could, I guess, but that's funny right there. And this is where I see, and you have to admire a man that when you're under fire, and which he was under fire just as much as Baldwin, but his first instinct is looking at the law and pushing back to the judge that for Baldwin's sake more than his, or at least that's the way I read it. My first impression is, and I don't understand why she wouldn't, but I hope that he does get back on the case. I really do, and for the fact that I hope he stays, and I think it would be the best for everybody. That's just my opinion. Actually, I was going to call you tomorrow. Under Secret says, True Crime Web, could you make a cheat sheet and post it in the community post? All the cases are getting so complicated. I was going to call you tomorrow and ask you about that cheat sheet, if you would get one up for me. Triple S says, I don't think they'll let Rosie back on. He has a civil claim against him. And that's one of the things that that I brought up here about what were the issues with the judge about some of the when the leakings began, and she's having to address the defense time and time again, and that y'all have through the court system, press, and everything else, you're letting out far too much information, and you're pushing the lines of the gag order. And then you not only representing him in a criminal matter, but now you are bringing in a civil issue. And, and I can see that fact that it was very worrisome to the judge. And how will they answer that? And I can see the judge's issues with this, and of where they were pushing certain issues, and they were creating it on. Now, which attorneys were pushing it and who had the final say? I think it looks more towards Baldwin than it does Rosie. Oh, True Crime Well, I am literally not trying to add more things to my to-do list for you. I'm failing horribly. You keep making great suggestions, and there you go, Tanya. I need help. Mrs. Steve is busy with that new grandbaby. Absolutely. I got to know, could the change of attorney get him moved from prison back to jail pending trial? I don't think so. And I say that for the fact that if the courts and the prison system if that's the best place for him to guarantee his security, and it's what was happening, and it's not the attorneys. If it's just due to the attorneys, then I'll go with the attorneys that this is unjust where you're holding him. Either you're along the lines that, yes, this is the best way that we can keep him safe is where he's currently being held. And it's not to do with his attorneys. So I don't think change of attorneys will get him a move from to a county facility from a prison. I really don't. Black Widow, new member. Thank you. There we go. Where is it? There it is. There's the window. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hot facts. I'm so disappointed in just about everything that's happened in this case. I am, I'm biased I'm towards law enforcement, and Cop Facts and I have discussed a lot of things about our career and the dangers of, of opinions and things, and that you have to enforce the law regardless of who the person is. But there is a process that we have to abide by. We swear to uphold that Constitution. And the judge takes that same oath that we have to uphold the Constitution, or she had to uphold, and they all swear to this. The elected officials, judges, sheriffs, law enforcement officers, that we're going to protect that Constitution above all. And that Constitution is gives as much protection to attorneys as it does to their clients. And so, like I said, I'm disappointed also. Good to hear from you, Cop Facts. Oh, yes. And there's a lot of parallels. True Crime Web, says, do you remember the Columbia necktie defense made in the opening of the OJ trial? Just a smokescreen for reasonable doubt. And then they never fleshed it out. Reminds me of Odin stuff. Absolutely. And you'll see that. And there's a lot of things that from the parallels of OJ that we have to look at it, that as we discussed in one of the previous shows, that when OJ walked and left trial, did law enforcement, did the prosecution go out and seek anyone else? No. Would that be the case with Richard Allen? I believe so. That if Richard Allen isn't convicted, how can you go out, no matter what law enforcement had done on the OJ case, no matter how big of a suspect they brought up, they would have used OJ as the alternate suspect and alternative suspect, and said that OJ's the one that did it. He was just found innocent of it, but he's the one that did it. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Richard Allen. They have such a case against him. And like I said, he's innocent until proven guilty, but I really don't think that anyone else will ever be. And I believe, and my personal opinion is, that Richard Allen is the one that's responsible for this. But if he walks, I think justice will not be administered. There would never be anyone else pursued. Triple S. Yes, I mean, there's block concrete guards, and there's still interactions. They can say a lot of things, but there's still a lot of things that go on, and it's not, you're locked down. You're locked down. Shell C gifted 1 True Crime membership. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate your support. I'm just trying to get caught up with chat here. Yeah, that was a good idea, 63 clocks. Thank you, Michelle C. That's very kind of you. Steve, the delay in the case is not anything that anyone wanted. What do you think about the defense requesting a speedy trial at the same time? I don't think there's going to be any speedy trial regardless. And I really don't. I think it's just posturing. Because the prosecution is ready to go. I mean, it's been a year. And so I think that sometimes they'll do that just for public relations. Do they really want a speedy trial? I don't think so. But they could. I don't know. Junior Johnson, I don't know who the other people are that he's talking about. Uh-oh. Who got Christina just donating to watch you struggle with your traveling blue light and for support too. Oh yeah. Appreciate that. There it is. Thank you for your support, Christina. You'll get that back on our next whenever we go out, but we're going to work. We got a lot of work to do when we get back out on the road, and looking forward to that. Thank you for your support. Yeah, Christina makes me pay for everything that when we're out on the road and working, that watching them struggle through a menu. If I had to donate $5 for every time I watch them struggle with a menu. Oh, y'all cracking me up. Thank you. There you go. Thank you, Molly, for putting his channel up there. If y'all don't know who CopFax is, which I can't believe anybody doesn't know who CopFax is, go to his channel, support him. He's an author and everything else, and so support him any way you can. $2 towards a blue light on a beanie. That I can appreciate that. How would that work? I'm gonna have to put it. If I can get me a stand, I'll put it right there or something. There's Ruckus. Ruckus is in the house. Hello, sir. Black Widow, $5 or five something. I don't know. Appreciate it. There we go. Everybody's just liking to watch me struggle with this thing. Thank you for your support. Black Widow is our favorite spider. Webster's. Someone came up with that. I like that name too, for the Websters. Kristen behind the crime door says that she was hospitalized for a few days for serious medical reason. 2 days after the court hearing on 31st, she's still at home. Yeah, I saw where some of the other judges were assisting, and judges do that. They'll step up and assist each other on those cases. Y'all ain't right. Y'all are not right. Oh, man. Ruckus says, I'll get you a hard hat for the blue light. Okay, dokie, guys. Junior Jackson just said, I just subscribed to Cop Facts. Thank you. Appreciate that. He's always been someone I could rely upon whenever I spoke to and contact. And he is has all the knowledge in the world. And absolutely. Prayers for Gull. Absolutely. All righty. Well, let's see. I have anything else? Nope, that's the last of it. Let me see. All righty. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. And if anybody else has another question right quick, I'll take care of it. Dandy, thank you for subbing to me. And y'all do have a safe Thanksgiving. Y'all be careful out there. Enjoy your time with your loved ones, and take care. Be safe. And if you have any questions, absolutely send them to me through email. I appreciate that, and or through comments. I try to get to those as much as I can. And but if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it. We appreciate it. The channel is still growing, and we thank you. We've got a lot that's going on in the coming months, and I can't wait to share all the information with y'all, but we're working on it. But y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving, and I will see y'all probably Saturday after Thanksgiving. But stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.